now, 33 years and counting, why the FBI for inside the United States of America still they keep the TINUBU file? Not be me that ask that question. In fact, make her ask him for the grammar where they use ask him. 33 years later, why is the FBI still keeping the TINUBU files sealed? That not the question we be say, or an exclusive question where man where they call himself F Shaker ask for inside in social media handle. And that person, a former mayor of Blanco, Texas, United States, Mike Arnold. He asked that question and a couple of other questions. And then he has been releasing a lot of documents, talking a lot of things lately. And most of those things, they tie down to the Nigerian president. And people, they talk, say, oh God, why you not focus on what's happen for your country? On our own, I get on our Epstein files, and I get this one, and I get that one. Why you not focus there? Waiting concern you, concern Nigerian presidents. Nigerians, they complain to you. That's not the question where lots of people they ask. Why others, they talk, say, in pain. In fact, according to them, he say in pain that because of waiting get to do with Nigerian security and the way it they handled, especially as it be say people where they displaced for their villages, no feed they they not bring them back to their villages. Meanwhile, Nigerian government, according to them, they spend plenty money to use make sure say they hide the particular document. What did they hide all those documents then from? A lot of matter don't happen concerning this. I know we're going to talk out my mouth, no day to talk inside all those things. But I get the person who don't delay all these accusations. And my responsibility as a journalist to call them enter inside this studio, make it call even explain to Nigerians what's be all this accusation, what's in concern Nigerian matter. Enough face in front for the Bodo Ibo way day. How Nigeria matter can affect and pass the Nigerians waiting for Nigeria. All of these issues and more now we'll discuss. Most importantly, the DCI lobby group, where they talk, say they pay $9 million. Waiting be the deal for inside the $9 million. And why it be saying him, they involved for inside that deal, we be say the people we signed that deal with the group, sign with the group. What exactly is going on? All of these and more issues now we'll go talk about after the break. My name is Precious Kini. Welcome to Updates with Precious. Another beautiful day to bring on a quick update of things that happen for inside the country. And our guest today for inside this exclusive segment, now Mike and Arnold. But before I bring them into the studio, that's what they do. Not just go drink some water, drop cup, when they come back. But if they're your first time of joining this conversation here, I beg click on the subscription button, like and share this post. And don't forget, say we also did go on air for inside Citizens Voice 97.1 FM Lagos. So if you're there for Lagos State and you get person waiting for Lagos State, tell them and tune their radio to Citizens Voice 97.1 FM. We'll take small break when they come back to get straight into the conversation after this break. Stay with us. To update the precious and beautiful day to update all of our country, Nigeria. Always bring on an update of everything what they have for inside our country, and very quickly begin summer on our Oh, my sincere apologies for that brief breaking transmission. Unfortunately, anytime we want to discuss something important like this, our village people will just carry their wahala, enter inside studio to cause problem for inside the network. But somehow, God pass our village people. We must go ahead with the conversation. So, my sincere apologies for that brief break in transmission. Please do bear with us. I do hope that I'm back on air. If you can hear me, please kindly indicate interest that you can hear me. Let me be sure that. Okay, sincere apologies. Please kindly bear with me. Most times when we talk important things like this, network problem will just come from nowhere. But no matter how bad it is, we must have this conversation today. No matter what happen and no matter how bad it be, we must get this conversation today, and it must happen. So, a couple of weeks back, in fact, recently, the former mayor of Blanco, Texas, probably a former friend of Reno Mokrio, he don't they post a lot of things for the streets of social media, and this now we can get to do with Nigeria, especially the president of Nigeria. And if you remember, recently we also did talk about the issue we get to do with the alleged drug files we be say FBI talk about. As FBI go meet Oga Madam Barry with the United States will be judge. Talk say, excuse me, your highness, we'll not go fit release these records. And unfortunately, we'll not go fit tell you why we'll not go fit release them. 3 years now, this case on the inside court under Freedom of Information Act, where be say people carry waka go there. And for inside that case, the court tell court say, we'll not go fit release them. I will not go fit tell you why we'll not go fit release them. Because if we tell you why, people go fit die. So at the end of the day, courts, can't get to give them expertise orders. Say, you know what? Oh yeah, since on I say only in secret, and I go tell me, you're not gonna tell me a secret. Make I determine whether waiting dey this file, e go fit really dey too dangerous to expose, abi e no go dey dangerous. Even though say the FBI don't talk, say part of wetin make dem no go fit release these documents na because of say then they also protect people wey be say they give them information, the mode wey they use get information, and protect the covert style or operation style of the United States. Bureau of investigation. And now people don't they talk about this one. But in all of this, Mike Arnold on the same series of posts, and one of the posts where he sent seriously today say he said, in the past, I think that was about some few days ago. He said, 33 years later, why is the FBI still keeping the TINUBU files sealed, exclusive? And he talked a lot of things inside there. So the FBI is fighting to keep part of the 1990s investigative file on Bola TINUBU sealed under FOIA exemption 7 subsection F, claiming release could endanger the life or physical safety of any individual. Now, 33 years later, they claim only that they said that claim only holds if something, those records is still dangerous today. So that claim go fit still dey important if those records still dey important to things really happen today. Now you say here's the cleanest theory that every that fits every known fact. Say in the 1990s, early 1980s and 1990s, a Nigerian run network was moving high purity Southeast Asian white heroin, China white, from the Golden Triangle, primarily sourced and staged in Bangkok, Thailand, into Chicago and Northwest Indiana. It talk a lot of things concerning that. I'm not going to put my mouth inside that talk. You go good, they can invite and make it come to come. Then most importantly, you can talk about a particular lobby group where you talk, say, the Nigerian president or the people away from Nigeria or the said Bola Tinubu pay this lobby group, maybe say then handle matter we get to do with this case. And for inside this case, you don't talk, say this lobby group don't make the most wanted man in the world right now. That's a serious allegation. And a part of waiting make with the ask him, Oga Arnold, waiting they happen. Why you not face your country? Waiting make it come talk about Nigerian matter. Look, we invite into the studio Mike Arnold, former mayor of Blanco, Texas. Mike, good evening and thank you so much for joining us. Welcome. Thanks for obliging me.
Oh, it's great to be here with you again. I appreciate you and your commitment to true journalism. And I want to tell people that are listening, they're watching. She's going to ask me some tough questions and she's going to try to beat up what I say, but that's her job and I respect it. She's not against me. She's just trying to make sure that what I say is true. So I don't come after her for asking me hard questions. I'm here because of that. I expect it.
So said they go drag me. You don't understand pidgin. You say they go drag me.
I don't know. You promised to teach me Pidgin last time, and you still
I,
haven't
I
done it.
should teach you. You didn't come for classes. I should reschedule our classes for Pidgin English.
Yeah.
So you know they would come for me, and you're already making it obvious. All right. So now that you already raised that fact, thank you for coming, and it's always good to be with you. What is actually your interest in Nigeria? I'd like to ask, or perhaps begin the conversation with that question. Why do you care so much about Nigerian situation that you just pay so much attention to it?
That's a good question. I feel it's my calling. I started going to Nigeria, but when I first started in 2010, I couldn't find Nigeria on a map. I couldn't tell you the difference between Nigeria and Swaziland. It's just African country, and most Americans are the same way. But I went. Long story short, and just was blown away. Just fell in love with the place, and God spoke a word to me that I've treasured since then. That what man has called the dark continent, that God is working to raise to be the continent of light in our generation. And I want to be doing what God's doing. I want to be where God is. And I see that she's dropped. I don't know if I'm still on, but I'll keep going. Um, and so I kept going back. My 10th trip was in 2019. And I didn't know anything about what was going on, just little bits and pieces about violence in the north and here and there. In 2019, an unexpected detour went into a IDP camp in the middle of Abuja. Uh, these are people that were displaced, driven out in this camp, they were driven out of Ngoshe, Gwoza, in Borno State by Boko Haram. Horrible stuff. And they'd been in this camp already for 5 years and heard their stories and heard their heart. And I promised to tell their story, and I promised to help them. And I've been doing that ever since, and it's become it's become full time for me. It's been sacrificial. I don't make any money doing this. It costs me. But these people are victims, and it's unjust. And I just feel called by God to advocate and stand up for these people. And I thought it would be as simple as raising some awareness, notifying the people in power that this is happening, and it would be taken care of. And that's never been the case. In fact, I've spent time with at TINUBU's Minister of Foreign Affairs. At the time, it was Yusuf Tugger. I've spent time with his Minister of Information, Idris. Of course, plenty of time with Reno Omokri. And all the times I met with these people, I was telling them, hey, these displaced people are here. They're in the middle of your city. There's tens of thousands of them. They need your help. And they nod and smile, and then they do nothing. And I realized, over time, digging deeper and deeper, that it's not just that they do nothing. They benefit from this insecurity. They benefit from this hardship for these people. They're looting and raping this country, and they couldn't care less who gets killed or ground down in it. And so I never set out. In fact, when TINUBU was elected, I saw it as possibly hopeful. Not knowing what I know now, I thought, no one could be worse than Buhari. Little did I know that TINUBU now he claims to be the power behind Buhari. He was the president when Buhari was president. I've kept talking while you were gone. I don't know if people are listening, but I filled in the space for you.
That's an accusation on the president of Nigeria. If you have been to Nigeria before this administration and you know that the insecurity situation has, of course, existed all of this while, why do you pay so much attention to the administration of President Bola? You did say that when he came in, you had some hope. So what changed that hope? Because he's doing his best. He's doing his best. He's giving so many orders. Well, that's
I spent time with his ministers, a couple of them, Tugger, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Idris, the Minister of Information. I told them all about these displaced people that are right there in Abuja, right under their noses. And they just nod and smile, and they do nothing. Omokri, as well.
Are you saying that they're denying the existence of the displaced people in Abuja, or they just don't pay so much attention to it?
No. They no. It's worse than denying their existence. They have intentionally purged them from the public record. I did a press conference in 2023 when we opened a new school at Wasa, which is the biggest IDP camp in the Abuja area. And I spoke about how we do work building schools in IDP camps. The newspaper reports came out and said, we do build schools in rural communities. I met with a journalist before that, Buhari, who was very connected to the administration. He said, oh, no. There's no IDPs. They're all homeless. They're all vagrants. They're all bums. I actually went in 2024. I think it was 2024. They had just bulldozed one of these camps. Bulldozed it. Gave them 3 days notice and $12 compensation. People that had lived there for years and years built these with their own hands. This is where the government told them to stay. And they came in and they bulldozed it and they had to relocate. And I went and asked the police chief who gave this order, and I have it on camera, hidden camera. He said, oh, no, there's no IDPs. They're all criminals. That's the official line. That's why people even in Abuja, even people next door don't know their stories because the government.
And you think that that's the official response of the Nigerian government to the people in the IDP camps around Abuja?
It's Nigerian citizens and it's the victims. Yes, absolutely. They have an obligation. And, ignorance, the claim of ignorance doesn't fly because I've informed them. I've briefed them. I've talked to them about it. They know. And the intentional denial of recognition and aid of displaced people in this circumstance is legally genocide by international law. TINUBU and his administration are guilty of genocide. They intentionally deny recognition and aid to these people. That is genocide, and TINUBU is guilty. So yeah, I gave him all the benefit of the doubt, but he's burned through all that and then some. He's a criminal. He's a villain. He's a thug. He's sleazy.
That's too heavy to say to a president of a country. You also do have a president. I'm sure you.
It's the truth. It's the truth. He's guilty of genocide until he goes and walks down the street and recognizes those displaced people who are victims, who a lot of them are children who saw their parents massacred. I can introduce him to an 80-year-old woman with a bullet scar through her arm. She was in Ngoshe, went out to look for her son's head. He was a Bible translator. Boko Haram cut his head off, dumped the body at her home. She went to look for his head. They captured her, put her on the back of a motorcycle. She can show you the scars on the inside of her legs from the motorcycle exhaust. And they took her to their camp, and the commander said, oh, no, don't kill her here. The bodies stink too much. Take her back home to kill her. She ran off. She was 70-something years old at the time. They shot her. She has a scar through her arm. But she made it. She collapsed. People found her and helped her. And she's living in a camp in Abuja right now, and the government calls her a criminal and a vagrant. That's a crime. That's genocide. And TINUBU knows they're there, and he does nothing. And that is, by legal definition, that is genocide. So, yes, he's a criminal. Even if
the last time the last time you came to this platform, you mentioned the same Abuja IDP camp, people living there. And I think I interviewed a couple of them. Yes. I did interview. And indeed, they acknowledged that there are IDP camps, not one in Abuja. And one of them actually spoke about the situation of living or the standard of living over there. But he also did mention that the government acknowledges them, especially when aids are coming in, from international organizations. But just that they pay little or no attention to them. That interview is still on this platform, and people can go back to it. So if government can acknowledge them when there are agencies visiting, for instance, humanitarian agencies or NGOs trying to give gifts, and government can refer them to an IDP camp close by in Abuja if they don't want to go elsewhere, why do you think, or why do you keep thinking or saying that the government is denying their existence?
The government does. In fact, the United Nations does as well. I have a document from the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees from 2015 documenting all of these camps in the FCT. We've identified 8 of them and about 40,000 residents between them just in the FCT. And today, the United Nations High Commissioner of Refugees says there's no camps in Abuja. The government acknowledges camps in other states. There's some designated, recognized camps, but no, they call these people criminals, vagrants, beggars. And if the government acknowledges them, then why do they bulldoze them? Why is there no aid? Why is there no help with education, with food, with anything? Why do they just deny? No, I mean, there might be good.
So Mike, you do not think that it's just a complex situation for Nigerian government? I tell you this, the population of Nigeria itself. You understand how poor and impoverished this country is. And the number of people that are displaced in Nigeria. You do not think that it's just a case of the situation being a bit overwhelming for the Nigerian government and not a deliberate denial of the existence of these people?
Well, let me ask you something. They're spending $9 million in the United States to discredit me and people like me. I'm the number one target of a $9 million campaign. That $9 million could fully sustain all of those people and all of the camps in the FCT for a very long time. They could build a really nice establishment with schools and clinics and everything these people need, and they could relocate them for that $9 million. But instead, they spend their time and energy and government funds to lie about it, to cover it up, and to discredit people. And it's not true that Nigeria is an impoverished nation. The Nigerian people are impoverished people, but it's because TINUBU and his ilk continue to loot the country. They can loot the minerals, they loot the oil, they loot the money.
That's another accusation. Do you have evidence to that? That's another accusation. I think it's just based on your assumption of the Nigerian government. Do you have a proof to the leaders of Nigeria looting the country dry, like you mentioned?
Well, look at TINUBU has been a public servant for his whole career, and he wears a watch worth millions of dollars. I mean, come on. Yes, of course he's looting. I mean, just 2 years ago, 2024, TINUBU issued no bid contracts. No bid. Just he signed the check equal to 72% of the entire federal budget to one man, his crony, Gilbert Chiguri, the man he stays with when he goes to France. Man, they were in league together when he was there in Lagos. And that is that's corruption at the highest level. 72% of the federal government going in no bid contracts to your crony. Yeah. And so it's interesting. TINUBU settled the debt of the country, that a lot of it from before he was president. And then he runs up more debt and more debt and more debt. And none of it goes to the people. That doesn't seem like it goes to these inside sweetheart deals. He gets richer and richer and richer as the people continue to suffer. The standard of living goes down and down and down. That is the byproduct of corruption. That's the byproduct of a corrupt regime. It has nothing to do with the people. Nigerians, wherever they resettle around the world, they rise to the very top. Education, entrepreneurship, wealth, the Nigerians, and they do it right. They do not like you're seeing in the United States, Somalians scamming everything. Nigerians build, they create, they employ people. They contribute to the community, and it's again, wherever they go, the wealthiest, most educated on earth. Why can't they do that back home where they have all the resources? And it's because of the corrupt system, the corrupt government. People like Bola TINUBU, probably the most corrupt president in Nigeria's history, and that's saying something. His entire regime is nothing but a bunch of looters. Now you're back. Welcome back to the show.
No, it's fine. No, I just put you on. I mean, I just put myself on the side because I needed to listen to you.
Oh, okay.
Now, before we
I thought you dropped off. I didn't know.
No, I wouldn't have dropped off. I couldn't do that. So now you talked about it. We're going to get back to that corruption issue and ascertain how indeed that statement is true. But before we get to that, let's go back to the issue of homeless people and the IDP camps that you talked about. And why does that bother a white man from the United States of America? Do you not have homeless people around Texas, United States? Why should you be bothered about homeless people in Nigeria, not those just right before your nose in the United States? That's a question
I don't know what it has to do with my skin color. I think that's sort of silly. But this is where God's called me. What else can I say? And the stories of these people, I have done work. I've done a lot of ministry outreach on the street with homeless people in the United States, no doubt about it. And virtually everyone I've ever worked with is theirs because they're into drugs or because they just don't want to work. Okay, there are homeless people that want to be homeless, for lack of a better.
Okay, not because the country does not have an opportunity for them.
Oh, there's resources all day long for places. There's homeless shelters. There is the most impoverished homeless person in the United States is wealthy by Nigerian standards. There's so much opportunity. There's no reason for anybody in the United States to stay on the street. And I've done that work. And again, every single one I've ever worked with, it's drugs, it's crime, it's laziness, or some kind of mental illness. And yeah, my heart goes out to them. I've ministered to them, but there is plenty of resources in place. Not the same story. These people have homes. They had homes that were ripped away from them by TINUBU's Bush boys, and now they're living in shanties they had to build themselves with their own hands. And then the government comes and bulldozes them. That's not a homeless person. That's a victim.
Okay, so you give me a second to break this down to Nigerians. You know that the typical nature of this show is to break down such complex conversations in a way that the ordinary Nigerian will understand. And if I have to speak very simplified English, it means that you're saying that the homeless people in Texas and homeless by choice, not because the state hasn't offered them any opportunity. But those IDP camp, and homeless people in Nigeria that you worry about, especially those in Abuja, are homeless as a result of the ineptitude of the government in Nigeria. That's what you're trying to say, because of the ineptitude of the country's leadership, criminals chase them away from their homes, their ancestral homes, and they do not have where to stay anymore. And when they manage to get somewhere in makeshift camp in Abuja where they stay, the government even comes to destroy that same place. And that's your anger with the Nigerian government. Is that clear?
That's correct. Yeah, absolutely.
Is that correct?
Correct. Yes, and it's my calling. And I don't. Again, and I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, and the Bible says that in Christ there is no Jew or Greek or slave or free. In Christ there is no white or black or American or Nigerian. We're all citizens of the same kingdom, and so I don't recognize those distinctions. I don't see you as a black woman. I see you as a woman. I don't see you as a Nigerian. I see you as a human being that lives in Nigeria.
Which is exactly how it should be.
So calling why is a white man, I can't help the way I was born, just like you can't.
Exactly. But the reason I asked that question is because that's what majorly most people who are opposed to what you do would say. And I hope you do not mind that I had to ask it exactly how they would ask that question.
I get it.
It's quite deliberate.
I don't fault you for asking me, but the answer is the answer. I feel called there, and I feel more of a kinship to many Nigerian people than I do to people in my own neighborhood here in Texas, because our hearts are fixed the same. We're citizens of the kingdom of God, and the values, the aspirations, the worldview. I many times I've felt more at home in Nigeria than I do here, because in many ways it's closer to the kingdom of God, and so. Yeah, we're neighbors. It is what it is.
Thank you. So going back to the core of the conversation, two things now. You talked about the FBI files and you asked questions around why the files are withheld. And then you talked about the DCI group and why you are the most wanted man so far. Let's start with the file and then we'll progress to to why you're a wanted man. I want to believe they're interlinked, right? So let's go ahead. What do you know about this file and why do you speak so much about it?
Okay, the truth will set you free, and light banishes the darkness, and so any hidden files pertaining to this corrupt president of Nigeria that are hidden shouldn't be hidden. They should be released. And I think so. So what these date back to, just a little background, when President TINUBU lived in South Chicago, similar neighborhood, same time as Barack Obama, David Axelrod, and the current Pope, which is interesting. They were all in sort of the same area at the same time. That's neither here nor there, maybe. But TINUBU was involved with, and integrally involved with, a heroin trafficking ring. He got in trouble with the DEA. The story, as we all know it, in 1993, he forfeited $460,000 to a federal court, and he fled the country.
You wrote a piece about it. I don't know if you would permit me to read out excerpt of that piece you wrote
Go
about
ahead. Yeah,
very
absolutely.
quickly, because I like Nigerians to understand exactly what we're dealing with here. You did say that the FBI is fighting to keep parts of the 1990s investigative file on Bola Tinubu sealed under the FOIA exemption 7F, as it were, claiming release could endanger the life or physical safety of any individual. Now, he said 33 years later, that claim only holds if something in those records is still dangerous today. Do you
Yeah.
believe there's something in that record that is still dangerous today?
I don't know at all. And I don't defend the FBI's position, but I'll explain it. United States doesn't work like Nigeria. It maybe on a deeper level it does, but you can't just go in and bribe the FBI, say don't release it, and then the FBI just doesn't release it.
So why are they defending its release?
You can influence it, but if somebody challenges it, which a reporter requested these files, Freedom of Information Act, reporter questioned it, fought it all the way up to court. The judge ordered their release. And then the FBI and the CIA came in and said, oh, no, we can't release them. And it sat there for over a year. What's happened lately is pretty evident that Atiku is spending money on his own lobbyists in Washington, and they're really stirring the pot here. And it appears that their attorneys got behind this reporter's case as the plaintiff and have pushed it. And so that's why it's coming to a head, is because there's money being spent on attorneys. And so the FBI was forced to clarify their position. Why are you not? And their legal argument, which is properly formed, it follows the law, is that we can't release this because it would endanger the lives of people. That's what their claim is. Is it true or not? I don't know. But their claim is legally properly formed. And if it's true, then it's a proper legal reason not to release it. Now, where it's at is the judge said, well, hey, give them to me and I'll look at them in private and I'll decide what's true here and what's not. And so that's where it sits. My understanding is the judge is going to be reviewing these in person privately, and the judge will decide. And just again, from Nigerians' understanding, these federal judges, they rule against the president all the time. They rule against the government. They rule against the FBI, the CIA all the time. Is it exempt from corruption? Nothing on earth is, but it's a pretty solid process. And if this person, the judge, rules against it, they can appeal it, and I'm sure that Atiku's lobbyists would. It can go all the way to the Supreme Court, and along the way, it's documented, it's public, it's transparent. So the process is working. The question is it true? Will this endanger anybody's life today, 33 years later, if this information is released? That's the question in front of the judge, which is very interesting because, if you look at it, there's really only two kinds of people that they would be protecting. There'd be undercover operatives. Nobody stays undercover 33 years. There's no way that this applies to an undercover operative. Or it's a snitch, which is what I think the case is, and it explains everything. And that is TINUBU. He didn't just write a check for $460,000 to leave the country. They don't do it that way. They do plea bargain, they do deals, but the deal that I've ever seen always involves, we'll let you go, you got to give us somebody bigger. And so they play them. We got you. We got you dead to rights. But if you want to get out of this, give us the money, but you got to give us a bigger fish. And if it truly is blocked, and that truly is a legitimate argument, then I don't think there's any other conclusion that Bat is a rat, that he flipped on his network. Not long after that, if you look at the history of U.S. drug enforcement in Southeast Asia, there were some of these white heroin networks were taken down. So was that information that TINUBU gave them? Did he flip on his Nigerian sponsors? At the time he was younger, were there Nigerian power brokers, power that be, that he flipped on? I don't know, but that makes it very interesting. Sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't. I don't think this FBI's argument helps TINUBU at all. It may successfully block the release of the files, but in doing so, he becomes Bat the rat forever.
All right, so let me dig deeper into that piece that you wrote. You did say that in the 1980s, 1990s, and the Nigerian-run network was moving a high-purity Southeast Asian white heroin. The emphasis on the exact brand of heroin, that's a bit interesting. And he said China white, from the Golden Triangle, primarily sourced and staged in Bangkok, Thailand, into Chicago and Northwest Indiana. And then he said Adegboyega Muiz Akonde ran the organization. His nephew, Abiodo Agbele, handled U.S. distribution and sales. And Lee Andrew Edwards was a major street level customer in Gary rather. And then TINUBU's Chicago's bank accounts were frozen because investigators believe they held laundered proceeds from the same CEA white heroin pipeline. Now, Agbele got arrested in 1980, selling to an undercover agent and cooperated. Now, Tinubu, on the other hand, was interviewed by phone, made partial admissions about knowing the players and moving money. Later, contradicted himself, fought the civil case, and settled in 1993 by forfeiting a 460,000 US dollars, no criminal charges at all. And then you did say that the working theory is that Tinubu provided information during that process enough to walk away without an indictment. Now, the records of that cooperation, all the identities it protected, remain in the file. Now, you said that is why the Bureau is still invoking a life safety risk in 2026. You did say also that look at what happened next in 1995 to 1996. The US launched Operation Global Sea, the first major effort that took down an entire Nigerian CEA heroin chain from Bangkok source to Chicago streets. It targeted a sophisticated syndicate based in Bangkok that had been moving hundreds, of kilograms of the same white purity white heroin into the Midwest via Europe, Guatemala, and Mexico. Dozens were arrested in Bangkok, Chicago, New York, Detroit, Pakistan, and you did mention that the Bangkok-based leader, Musilio Balogun, aka Olopa, the policeman, was charged as a primary supplier from Thailand, Cambodia. He stayed a fugitive until 2006 and was extradited and was sentenced in Chicago in 2013, 9 years later. Now, other follows on operations, including elements, later rolled into shadow towers, kept hitting Nigerian groups, still importing CEA white heroin from Bangkok, China, and other sites. And just as we wrap up this, he said most of the original 1988 to 1993 players are now dead or neutralized. And then Akonde died in 2024. Edwards, years later, Balogun served 2024. It's quite a long time. That is almost 30 years into this. And then Balogun served his time and is no longer an active kingpin. But the broader Nigerian more like a transnational network that controlled that Bangkok to Chicago CEA white heroin pipeline never fully disappeared. Residents, associates, family member, that is residents, associates, family members, or successor cells in Thailand and West Africa still operate in the drug trade, identifying who cooperated in the original Chicago case or revealing the exact techniques and sources used against the Bangkok suppliers could still put people at real risk of retaliation. So this is you chronicling the entire event and stating why you think that the FBI is saying that if we release this, it may endanger people, right? How did you know all of this? But you did say you didn't know anything. How did you know that people may still be in danger today? Are you just making an assumption, or perhaps just thinking a bit too deep into something that is perhaps a bit meaningless?
Well, again, that's the legal basis for their motion to block the release. They're making that claim. That's the law. And they've explicitly stated this is the law we're using. This is the grounds we're standing on to not want to release it. And so, yeah, I'm not making that claim. They're making that claim that this would put people or in danger. There's no way that we still use the same tactics that we used before the internet before satellite, surveillance and all that stuff. It is not to protect tactics. And if it was to protect the U.S. DEA's tactics, why would TINUBU be having a heart attack over this?
You think he's having a heart attack over it?
His attorneys, his lobby, you can go back years. His lobbyists, he's paid people to fight the release of this information. Yeah, he's been an active participant in trying to block this in the U.S. courts. So that's because of a tactic the DEA used. That's ridiculous. It's to protect his own butt. So he's sort of damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. If it's released, it shows he's a criminal and it shows who he ratted on. But the more he tries to hide it, the more he tries to fight its release, the more it proves that he's a rat. I don't see another way to read it. Why else would he be fighting the release of this information if it wasn't damning to him? It makes no sense, and there's no other way to see it. None of it makes sense unless he's guilty of either, serious crime, which is most likely, or guilty of ratting on people, which seems to be the case as well. So either way, he's in a tough situation here, and the more he fights it, the worse he looks.
So are you aware that this issue isn't just a today thing, especially in Nigeria, that for as far back as in the 90s or late 90s or in the early 80s, different people have tried to pursue this case about President Bola, about Bola and TINUBU before now, and nothing came out of it. Why do you think that further talking about it in 2026, when he is a president of the same country, could make any change?
Well, it's because the way the court system works, especially in something like this, it's a civil cause. It's not a criminal cause. And a civil cause needs a plaintiff that can afford to pay attorneys and has the desire to fight something. And they found this reporter, who filed the original the Freedom of Information Act request and pushed it, was able to pay, or found a law firm to push this case to where it sat, months ago, which was, at the federal court. And lately that was something that hadn't been done before. There was never at the point of a court case where the judge ordered the release. And that was because somebody fought it, which is their right. And then you have Atiku's lobby firm attorneys that come in. The case was there pending, and they've come in behind it, and they're continuing to push it. It's just the way the legal system works.
So do you not think that this is all political, especially because an election cycle is already on, and that's the reason why this is going on? Do you not think that someone is just being victimized because he's about the most powerful person in Nigeria, and oppositions are just after him to ensure that they bring him down? You don't think towards the direction?
Hey, him dealing heroin in the 90s and the United States was not a political thing. The files are the files. Sure, is Atiku motivated by politics to fund this? Absolutely. But the underlying truth is the underlying truth. The reality is the reality. Just because somebody fanned the flames of it for later, that doesn't make it a political issue at all. It's facts. It's truth. The Nigerian people deserve to know the truth about this person who calls himself Bola TINUBU, who's the president of Nigeria. And yeah, thank God there's an opposition candidate with some money to spend to push this. That doesn't discredit it. That's just hey, it's an opportunity. Great, push it. More power to you.
All right, so let's go back to talk about pushing this conversation, especially with the DCI group. Why do you think you're the most wanted man by the DCI? What did you do to deserve that title?
Well, first of all, it's the reality. They have a pathetic little Twitter feed, but I got on it, and ends up they just spend. Somebody must sit there thinking of ways to attack me every day, and they just post about me and post about me. You look at their filings. As a U.S. firm that represents foreign interests, everything they do it has to be made public. They file it, that you can look at all their stuff online, and an analysis of their stuff. It's clear, and it's documentable. I mean, it's statistical. I am their number one target. They have spent more time and effort to attack and try to discredit me than anybody else. And hey, I'll wear those. Who am I? I'm a grandpa in a little town in the Texas Hill Country Uh, and here you have the administration of the sixth largest nation on earth spending millions and millions of dollars to discredit me. Why would they do that? Why not you? Well, because first of all, if I was full of crap, if I didn't speak truth, if I had nothing worthwhile to say, they wouldn't give me the time of day. I've been there. 16 years on the ground. I've been to Bocos. I've been to the camps. I've been to the villa. I've been all over that place, and I got video of it all, and I've got documentation of it all. I know the truth, and I'm not afraid to speak it. They tried to buy me off.
And what is that truth you know?
I'm speaking it here, that this is a criminal regime that's complicit with the Bush boys that is driving this genocide for their own benefit. That's what I know. And that's if that was meaningless, if that was just a stupid conspiracy theory, would they be spending millions of dollars to silence me? Of course not. I'm over the target and I'm dropping the truth bombs and they're trying to shoot me down. And hey, I'll take it. They just spent $9 million to make me a folk hero in Nigeria. How stupid are they? Keep it coming. At this rate, they'll get me elected.
But you had said I had interviewed you on this platform in the past, and you did speak about this lobby firm at that time, and you talked about the lobby firm and quite a couple of others, not just one lobby firm in the United States. You did say that they were fighting, to conceal the religious genocide, what you termed Christian genocide in Nigeria. At what point did the group, the DCI, move away from their targets of de-escalating the Christian genocide issue to now fighting you or targeting you?
Well, so first let me clarify something. I've never been one of these out there saying Christian genocide, Christian genocide, Christian genocide. Okay. Yes, there is that, but that's a improper and inaccurate framing. This is a jihad. And a good
you think it's a jihad?
Absolutely.
That's worse than a Christian genocide. Why do you think it's a jihad?
That's right.
A jihad is basically a war against,
That's right. No, that's exactly
why do you
what
think
it
it's
is.
a jihad?
A third of the victims are Muslims. I have a school in the FCT that's almost entirely Muslim students, several hundred of them. We give them a free education. Muslims, okay? Let me just tell you, the way fundraising works here and the way churchianity works here, people can raise a lot of money talking about Christian genocide, and it's a Muslim versus Christian thing, and that's just not accurate in this case, okay? It is that there is an intentional effort to wipe out Christians, yes, but it's plus. It's more than that. And so I've never just said it's Christian genocide, period. Never have, and I never will, because that's disingenuous. It's a jihad. It's a conquest. And it's been going on since 1804. If Nigeria still produced history books, it would be in it. The Fulani invaders, they're not indigenous, led by Usman Dan Fodio in 1804, descendant of Muhammad, still revered, still taught. His grave is like a mini Mecca. They make pilgrimages to Dan Fodio's grave. So this isn't some obscure figure from the past. His successor, blood successor, still sits on his throne. And Dan Fodio had two primary teachings that if you understand these, you understand Nigeria. Okay. One is that what he was doing was preparing the platform for the coming Mahdi, the Islamic Jihad Messiah. That is, and we're in the Islamic century in which he's prophesied. Now, there's a Shiite view of the Mahdi the Iranians hold. That's about 12% of Islam, maybe 15%. That he's the 12th Imam living in a cave somewhere for 800 years. That's not the same thing. This is the futurist view of the Mahdi, that he's going to come when his platform is ready. And Dan Fodio taught that that's what he was establishing. The Sokoto Caliphate is the platform for the Mahdi. And that the black flags of the world will assemble around the Mahdi, and they're going to ride west and conquer the world for Allah. That is Dan Fodio's teaching. It was, and it still is. Second, he taught that, and he modeled that any Muslim that stands in our way, that doesn't join our jihad, should be killed. That's how they co-opted the entire Hausa tribe. They were Muslim, But these chiefs and these kings that wouldn't follow them, they were all of a sudden worthy to be killed. And so he killed them. That was his teaching. And that explains what's happening now. That explains why now there's at least 8 black flag groups from around the world that have assembled in Nigeria. They're purifying the platform, killing the Christians and any Muslim that stands in their way. About a third of the death toll is Muslims that won't join the jihad. And they're purifying the platform to use as a launch pad for global jihad. Since they founded that caliphate, their bloodline has run the throne ever since. And it's still the ruling elite there is still the power behind the throne. And they've killed more than 10 million people, the largest enslaver of Africans in the history of the world. And it's still doing it. Displaced over the years, at least 25 million. The same tools and tactics that were used in 1804 were used during 1967 and 1970 to kill at least 3 million, mostly children in the Southeast, to get them under control, to subjugate them and take their resources. And they're still doing it today. Same tools, same tactics, same teaching. Mike,
you recall that the Nigerian government has often tied this whole issue to farmer headers issue. Why are you laughing?
That's been so long discredited that I'm surprised you're even still
they said because of climate change. Let me explain to you. I think you don't understand. Let me explain to you.
I understand
it's not because of climate change. So there is water, deserts. When the areas are deserted and then there is no water, some of these herdsmen, they're nomadic in nature. They will not start moving closer, now move to areas where they will see greenery and water. So it's just a clash. It's
happening for centuries. Yeah, Cain versus Abel was a farmer herder clash. Really. My cattle need to eat, and you've got pasture land. Yeah, and those are fist fights, and maybe somebody gets beat up or something like that. Maybe some crop gets trampled. That's always going to happen. It is what it is. But you have herders riding in on motorcycles with AK-47s and gunning down entire villages and burning churches, but not mosques. It's absurd. And it's so that line of rhetoric is so thoroughly discredited. I haven't heard it in a while now. I proved where that came from. Applying to all this, that came out of a think tank funded by George Soros, who hired a career Sharia propagandist to come up with that line of poppycock that was fed to all.
So you think that the issue about climate change and farmer headers is a propaganda?
So let me just put it this way: I know there's a lot. I know it's chaotic when these attacks happen. There's gunfire, there's screaming, there's bombs and all that stuff. But every single survivor says the same thing. They're not shouting, "I am warm." They're shouting, "Allahu Akbar." Okay, that is not climate change. That's a jihad.
So, Mike, you know that this thing you're saying about jihad is a bit tricky right now. I'll tell you why. First of all, you know that the president is not from the Fulani extraction that you just mentioned. He's a Yoruba man from southwest Nigeria. What business would he have with that kind of...
You don't even know his name. You don't even know his real name. You don't know...
His name is Bola Ahmed TINUBU now. That's his name.
Is that the name he was born with? How old is he? Which document do you look at to see his age? Or is he male or female? Because there's documents say both. Okay, so no.
Our president is a man, sir.
He claims to be Yoruba from the Southwest. I'll give you that. He claims that. But as a journalist, you cannot say that as a fact. There's no way you can say it as a fact as a legitimate journalist. He claims to be the name he goes by. His stage name is Bola Ahmed TINUBU, but that's not really credibly sourced.
All right. So going back to the question, you do know that first off, he's from the southwest extraction of Nigeria, and then
he claims to be, yes.
He is, to the best of our knowledge.
But as a journalist, I expect more from you. Come on, you challenge me, I'm challenging you. You can't prove that. But let's say it is. Let's just, for the sake of argument, I'll accept it. Okay.
Thank you for allowing me to win you a little. So it's okay. All right.
We're having fun.
We're having fun. So yes, he is from Southwest. He's not Fulani, and you did mention the Fulani. So why would he support people that are not his immediate tribesmen to conquer villages? Most of the people that are from those displaced villages allege that people living in their villages are people of that extraction, the Fulani extraction.
Yeah.
As it were, the president is not from there. Why would he support people that are not within his, direct kinship to take over other people's villages? So the president is quite innocent in this, and you do know that it didn't start in his administration. And then, secondly,
Yeah.
moving that theory of Christian jihad may just be a bit too tricky, especially at a time that Nigeria is running Muslim tickets, and at a time where you've had an Islamic cleric or some Islamic clerics come to say we will support the Muslim ticket because we know that Muslims are the strongest in Nigeria, they're the most populated religion in Nigeria and all of that. So, when you now come with this, now it will now look like there's a deliberate attempt to target the president because he's contesting for election with, a Muslim ticket. So I need us to be very careful with that.
Sure, absolutely.
That's why the rhetorics around jihad may just be a bit too dangerous to push. Don't you think so?
Well, if the truth is dangerous, then we're all in danger because I'm not. Look, I don't have a dog in the presidential election hunt. I've had multiple presidential candidates and their camps reach out and contact me and want my support, multiple, and I haven't supported anybody. I don't plan to. That's the Nigerians' decision, and I've been saying this about. For a very long time before any election was ever on the horizon. So no, you can't say this is politics, and the truth is the truth, and it's not. I spent a good amount of time just a few minutes ago saying this is not a Christian versus Muslim thing. That at least a third of the known victims are peaceful Muslims. I run a school for Muslim children, free, high quality education for displaced Muslim children. So don't try to put me in this Christian versus Muslim box. Okay, I'm a truth seeker, and I'm going to keep seeking and speaking the truth. And TINUBU, wherever he is from, or whatever his name is, whatever gender or age he is, the president. Look, he's a player. The way I see the Nigerian political scene, and I think you'll agree, it's a pretty apt description. You remember how in ancient Rome, they say they would flood the Colosseum and they'd have little naval battles in there. That's the Nigerian political scene. It's like a naval battle. You have different pirate ships. You got this party, that party, this party, and they're all competing to see who gets to loot and pillage the next 4 years. And that's all it really is, competition to see who gets to loot and pillage. And but it's in a contained setting. Caesar is the caliphate, the ruling elite of the caliphate. That's who this sits within. And nobody that's in the political arena can ever push out of there. Jonathan tried to. And remember what they said? If you get reelected, then even the dogs and baboons will be covered in blood.
Well, okay. Many say that sentence was misinterpreted because it was originally in Hausa language, and people said it was misinterpreted.
Okay, yeah. No, they didn't slaughter people. They don't kill people. They don't make threats. Okay, it was said, and it was meant, and the message was received. You don't push back too far. What? And Jonathan sure understood it. My political ambition is not worth the blood of one Nigerian. Now, I think those are the words that he'll regret the rest of his life because it cost the blood, his dropping out cost the blood of 185,000 Nigerians. Okay. But the Nigerian politics is just a little sandbox that they let it's an illusion propped up for the world. Oh, look, we're a democracy. We have elections. And that's all it is. And TINUBU, look, he's an opportunist. He knows how to play it. He has given the caliphate everything they've wanted. Why do you think the top guy that's rewriting the entire curriculum for Nigerian students from preschool all the way up to college, every subject, every grade level, his number one qualification, his credential, his claim to fame, he calls it intellectual jihad, his own words, to purge Western thought from Nigerian classrooms. He calls it the Islamization of knowledge. And that is who TINUBU appointed to head the curriculum. Okay, that is not just, oh, here he's a good guy. That is paying off these people that allow him to stay in office, that allow him to loot and pillage. The Turkish, Gumi comes out and said, oh, we should align with Turkey. A few weeks later, TINUBU's there signing the deal with Turkey, training the Nigerian military, the outfit that they use for their training in Africa, Sadat Group. The founder of it said he founded it to prepare for the Mahdi. And they recruit their trainers from active ISIS fighters in Syria. That's the deal TINUBU signed for the training of Nigeria's special forces, okay? Why is he still in power? Because he gives them everything they ask for. He's a puppet. And sure, we'll take this Southwest Yoruba puppet. Absolutely, it's good for them. It's their cover. But yeah, they control the whole arena. They sit above it. They're the powers that be. That's just the way it is.
All right. So, in your opinion, what do you think the Nigerian government would have done differently for you to assume that, or for you to understand that indeed they're trying their best to fight this menace of terrorism that we're facing? We call it clash, and we have bandits. We have different kind of ones. So we have the bandits, we have the ISWAPs that are terrorists that the US has helped us fight, and then we now have these headsmen now that are within the Middle East. The ones who said the armed ones. So so that's why the government to say that they're hydra-headed. They get plenty head.
They're all first of all, they're all black flag groups. The bandits are what they call them when they're doing crime. They call them kidnappers when they're abducting people. They call them herdsmen when they can't call them anything else. They're all jihadis. And what you see is an economy that they.
So you think that the entire security situation in Nigeria is all tied to one thing? The ISWAP, the Boko Haram, the bandits, the herdsmen clash with villagers. You think they're all one and the same?
Absolutely. Well, there's different factions. There's no doubt about that. But here's the thing. Muhammad, their perfect man. That's according to their faith. That's what they believe. He raided caravans and looted and stuff to get the resources for his jihad. That's in their faith. That's established. And if you look at, I've done the math that the different black flag groups from Lakurawa to Boko Haram and ISIS ISWAP, the Fulani militia, all those black flag groups, they generate about, from what I can tell, about $3 billion a year through their various side hustles. The looting of the blood minerals that they broker to the Chinese is significant, probably about close to $1 billion a year from that. Kidnapping, which really is a continuation of the slave trade. If you can get more selling them back to the family, do it. Otherwise, they go to the slave markets or they're given to the jihadis as wives. That the government said about $1.2 billion a year. You got extortion. You got, in fact, around the Lake Chad Basin, at least, they're taxing the people. The jizya is the Islamic principle. So these black flag groups generate about $3 billion a year to sustain their whole enterprise. It's interestingly, the eyewitnesses, that the people that have escaped, that have seen when these big piles, pallets of cash come in for ransom, they sit in a little shack, and the fancy cars start to show up one at a time, and that stack gets smaller as these officials and these important people come and take their piece of it, and then the jihadis are left with the rest. But yeah, this is all the jihad economy. They just give them different names to confuse people.
All right. So going back to the issue around the Nigerian government fighting and handling the insecurity, what would you have them do differently to convince you that, I know I did ask that question before, but it's important for us to, because we cannot just keep talking about the problem without proffering solution. First off, I'd like to say a big thank you to you. We see what you're doing with educating Nigerian children. We're going to talk about that because I do believe that it's not an easy thing for you to do, especially considering that you said that you had to use your personal funds to ensuring that this happens. But in your understanding, what would you have the Nigerian government do differently that would convince you that they are indeed pursuing this issue with all sincerity of purpose?
Well, sure. There's several things. First, I'm going to start above that and say, why hasn't the Sultan of Sokoto, that calls himself the King of Muslims, the final say?
That's Sultan of Sokoto. That's the Caliphate.
He calls himself the King of Muslims. That's the title they use for him.
No, that is because he's the head of Islam in Nigeria, sir.
Exactly. Yeah. The final say for everything Islamic as well as everything Sharia. The final say. He has never spoken against, he's never issued a fatwa or commanded this to stop at all. When he does speak about
you think that it's important for the Sultan to condemn the killings for it to stop?
You would think that if he wanted it to stop, he would say something about it. So yeah, absolutely. They're looting the $9 billion a year that the Nigerian government admits to being
Well, the
looted.
Sultan has spoken about these killings, and he's
yeah. It's a sin to kill an innocent person, yes. But according to their own theology, according to Dan Fodio, no Christian and no peaceful Muslim is innocent. It's coded. So yeah, it's a sin to kill innocent people. All he's talking about is a sin to kill a fellow jihadi, because according to their theology, that's the only innocent people. So yeah, he's only spoken in code. It's very calculated. He's never issued a fatwa. He's never told it to stop. He's never spoken against the looting of blood minerals taking place in his kingdom. He's never done any of that. He's also the head of the Fulani tribe. He's never spoken against that. So yeah, that's the start. And if he commanded tomorrow that any Muslim should stop wearing blue, you know what? They'd stop wearing blue, and if he commanded them to stop, they would stop. Or they would be the other Muslims that do follow him would turn on them. But it hasn't happened. So he's the Sultan of silence, and it's deafening. Now, what the government can do, first of all, the government and the Bush boys, it's a two-headed snake. I don't expect it to do anything. But what would it do in a sane world? First of all, the military. There's good people. There's heroic people serving in the military. I know some. I mean that are really good people, no doubt about it. But the blood minerals fund a lot of the leaders there, especially if you look at Plateau State, what's happening there. It's documented. It's irrefutable. The military doesn't show up when the attacks are happening. They get warnings. They don't show up. They show up afterwards, and they block the people from pursuing the jihadis. They shoot at those people. They'll go, somebody that has a Dane gun, a little homemade pipe gun, for self-defense, they'll take that and call them a terrorist, while the jihadis drive down the road with AK-47s on their shoulders, and they don't do a thing about it. So purge the corrupt military. Of course, that was being done in 2006 when the current Sultan came back from Afghanistan. They were trying to reform the military, and the top 10 generals who were leading this reform all of a sudden were all killed in a plane crash. The last time someone tried to reform this, and it was, whoops. Interesting. Not long after that, the sitting Sultan and his bloodline were killed in another plane crash. Oops. And the current Sultan became Sultan in 4 days, record time. So interesting there. But I would start by purging the military of the corrupt leaders and the law enforcement as well. And look, they know who these people are. They deliver ransom to these people. They could all be wiped out. And if they couldn't do it themselves,
who delivers ransom to them? Who delivers ransom?
Well, I'm the young man in Borno State. What's his name? Kaigama?
Are you speaking about Kaigama, the Borno Youth Alliance president?
Yeah, I correspond with him when the DSS.
Ibrahim Kaigama.
Yeah, I correspond with him when he's not locked in a DSS dungeon for speaking truth. He brokered the deal. I think it was $5 million delivered.
Whoa, he said 5 billion naira. That's what he said. And he said, but I think it's because of that he's been arrested to be questioned around that. Yeah, maybe because it's not true. I mean, remember that the senator he accused has also come to say that that's not true.
People, that wasn't a rescue. They walk into town. They were, the government pays ransom to these people.
You mean the Oyo incident was not a rescue?
Absolutely not. No. I know people that were actually part of the abducted people. Yeah, no, that was not a rescue. Are you kidding me? Anyway, they know who these people are. If they really wanted to, look, the U.S. wants to help. They could give, hey, U.S., here's where they are. Here's the people. Take them out.
But the U.S. has intelligence, and they're working with Nigeria now. Why is the intelligence not helping to take away those people? That's what many will say. I mean, the government has tried its best by ensuring that relationship happens, right? So if the US actually wants to take, are you telling me that the US intelligence is not intelligent enough to know that these are the actual people causing problem in Nigeria to take them down? So why are they not doing it?
Yeah, it's a complicated situation. And let me unpack it just a little bit. Okay. First, I'm very disappointed in the actions of the U.S. government, specifically Donald Trump. I'm very disappointed. Declared victory. I believe he means well. I believe he's surrounded by corrupt advisors. I know that. I mean, he's the lobbyists that TINUBU hired are very close in those circles. So he's surrounded by corrupt advisors. His own top advisor to Africa and the Middle East, Mossad Boulos, Tiffany Trump's father-in-law, personally, his family company benefits from these multi-billion-dollar no-bid contracts that TINUBU issues. Okay, so he's surrounded by corrupt and complicit advisors. He's also entangled in Iran. And here's the thing also, nobody in the United States still, I say it, in hyperbole, but a small fraction of people in the United States could have even fought Nigeria on a map. There's not a big public outcry here to stop it. So he's in a tough situation.
So you think that there is no awareness enough in the United States to push the president of the United States to do the right thing for Nigeria?
I think there's still an opportunity, but I think that the corrupt advisors surrounding him and the lack of public outcry and the taquilla being done by Nigeria. Oh, we're here. We're going to help. We're going to help. We're going to work with you guys. If you look at who was targeted, ISIS on the 2 strikes that we know of, those are the black flag groups that do not recognize the Sultan's authority. So it could certainly be interpreted that they were taking out the competition. And they didn't
why do you call that a taquilla?
Because it's an Islamic principle. You lie and you smile to get your way, and you don't reveal your true motivation and intention. And that's a fact. And that's the theology. That's not an insult. And yeah, they're very clearly using that in Washington, D.C. And I believe that there's still an opportunity, but what needs to happen is there needs to be a public outcry. So that's what I'm working on. I'm finishing a film. I just wrote a novel. I've got another book deal that's pending to raise the conversation, because when the constituents in the United States start talking about it, then the politicians will move. But until then, it's like arguing in a vacuum. Nobody's listening because the people
I still have quite a lot of questions to ask, but I know that Nigerians are waiting. Let me quickly bring them into the studio to see if they can ask you some of the questions. CJ, you're welcome. I just saw T.Y. Danjuma. He has committed. Where did he run to? Okay. Nigerians' phone lines are open. Please do well to join the conversation. You can call either of the WhatsApp lines, 0817-029-4077 or 0808-675-9679, either of these WhatsApp lines. So you click on the link on the pinned post. That link will bring you straight into the studio. So if you go to the comment section, you see a pinned post in the comment section. Kindly click on the link. It will bring you straight into the studio to join the conversation. CJ, I want to assume you have a question. Please go ahead very quickly.
Yes. Thank you, Precious, for the opportunity. Good evening, Mr. Arnold. I don't know what the time is where you are. So over here in the UK is about 20 past 8. I've got a couple of questions for you. Thank you so much for coming on the platform. I've listened to you carefully, and so many things you've hit the nail on the head there. You never missed the eyeball at all. That's pretty much covered all opinions of all Nigerians out there. But the thing is, who is going to say it, and where is he going to land, and who is going to take it, who is going to move the motion forward? That has been the problem. So my question, one of the things I picked up from the points you made tonight is, there was a time you mentioned that they attempted to silence you, try and buy you over. Was there ever a time, which is their usual tactics, this current government, was there ever a time they approached you with a bucket loads of money and saying, hey, we know you've got loud mouth, can you shut up with $10 million or £10, whatever that may be, don't talk about us again? Has that been a time? That's my first question before I ask you the second one, please, if you can answer.
Yeah, so if you know a little bit of my story and how I became a known quantity in Nigeria, it was the October 14th press conference organized by Shambassador Rado Omokri and Nuhu Rabadu, the NSA.
Yeah.
And when I was there on that trip in Abuja, Omokri multiple times said things to me like, oh, you're never going to have to worry about money again. You'll never fly coach class again. You have all the right friends now.
So he started
Yeah.
promising you bourgeois life. Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah, very much so. Yeah. It
So
wasn't, and it's a
let me
long
understand.
story.
Was the promises made if only if was a conditional if you stop talking and then
This
you get those privileges?
this was before the press conference. So
Okay.
he expected I was going to go along with it, and it's a long. He wanted to meet with me one-on-one 30 minutes before the press conference. I didn't want to do that, and God arranged a way to avoid it credibly. I don't know what he would have said then, but again, during that whole trip, he kept saying, "I'll never worry about money again. I have all the right friends now. I'll never fly coach class again." And that was when he thought I was on his side. Since then, I have had a person who at least claimed to be a member of the TINUBU camp try to reel me in and say, "Oh, you need to get on the right side of this, and we can help you out." I didn't entertain it, and I didn't push it. But yeah, there's no doubt I could have been, if I would have kept my mouth shut, I'd be living a much more how can I say, comfortable life right now. There's no doubt about it.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for that. The second question is, what do you think is the threshold that Nigerian, or what the crisis, the killings in Nigeria would reach for President Trump to intervene? Because there's been a time, we know the message has been pushed out in the Congress in America there. We watched it and somebody talked about it in the Congress, but it never really went that far. Somehow we just, along the line, it died down somewhere. What's gone wrong? What needs to happen in Nigeria for the world to say, well, this is too much, it has reached the threshold? What is that?
And I don't think that's the calculus. If it were, I think he would already be in there. I think he's insulated. I think he trusts his advisors, and I think he has the wrong advisors when it comes to Nigeria. And I think he watches Twitter, and in fact, it's my press conference. It's that actual thing that is credited with getting his attention and getting him to intervene in the first place, because there was a public burst of public awareness. But that has faded out, and a lot of that's because of the lobby. A lot of it's because the opposition, the activists are very conflicted. A lot of them, are not well funded. I'm not. This is not. We don't. Most people, that are in the humanitarian circles don't play the narrative war. They know how to bind up an injured arm or feed a sick child. They don't know how to, play the media. And so it's been a narrative war, and we've been.
So you think it's been a deliberate narrative war? And what is this narrative war? If you could just
Of course, the narrative is that, first of all, it's farmer herder climate change. But yeah, there's some killings, but we're doing everything we can. We're cooperating with the United States, and we're really trying our hardest. Yeah, thanks for the help. We're gonna keep trying, and that's it. And again, for a politician to do anything, go on an adventure, to do something beyond what they campaigned on, especially an America First politician, to do something outside of America, there has to be a public demand. And if you look at, for example, Blood Diamonds, that movie some years back, nobody could find those countries on a map. Nobody knew what they were. Nobody knew about this. And the activists, the humanitarians, all the people, they could scream till they're blue in the face, and nobody was doing anything. But then a Hollywood movie came out, and all of a sudden, nobody wants a conflict diamond, and all the jewelry stores stop selling them, and the politicians say, "Hey, I'm going to be a hero. I'm going to step in and do this." It comes from the public outcry. And so, yeah, this is a narrative war with real body count. And that's where it's being fought, and that's where it'll continue to be fought. If we want Trump or the U.S. or any other government to get involved, there needs to be a sustained and visible high-level public outcry. That's the only way. No statistics from the field are going to cause them to intervene if their constituents don't care.
But here's the thing, Mr. Arnold, if you don't mind. Do you get the sense that there is element of Mr. Tinubu's gangs in the Congress or somewhere lobbying and just trying to shut the noises in Nigeria down, that makes Trump not to, President Trump not to just kind of pay close attention to what's going on? Because I get the sense, I talked to a few friends in America, and they get the sense that there are some elements from this Nigerian government in, resident in America, working lobbying for TINUBU in the White House day in, day out, to shut the noise down, to prevent Mr. Trump from cannot doing anything at all. Is that the sense you have?
Absolutely. And there's a number of factors there. First, on paper, you could prove that at least $10 million of lobbyists, including some very high level, well-connected, outfits, are engaged in this actively. So yeah, that's not a conspiracy theory at all. Here's some other things though. Obama, it was instrumental in getting Buhari elected and pushing Jonathan out. And in doing so, they unleashed Boko Haram. He blocked aid and assistance to Nigeria in the fight against terror. He refused to call Boko Haram a terrorist organization for a long time. And Biden, in his first year in office, undid the CPC designation. So there is a globalist Islamist thread that from Obama on through that is entrenched in the Democratic Party that is actively going to try to stop any effort to expose this in Nigeria. So that's another thing. You have the paid lobbyists, you have that. There's also what people call the deep state. And so much of that centers on Nigerian history. Now, I'm going to mention a word that is polarizing. I'm not talking about the politics and the present and future. I'm talking about the past. But the fact is, the same regime in power today, the same powers that be, starved to death at least 3 million, mostly children, between 1967 and 1970 to retain control. The fact that the airport in Lagos is named after a known butcher, a war criminal, it just goes to show you. And the fact is, the first thing I was told when I was being called to go to Washington in October, all of a sudden people want to talk to me. I was pulled aside and said, just don't say the word Biafra, because they'll close the door. Why? Because the British United States were complicit in that. And it's an embarrassment, and there's liability involved if that ever becomes public knowledge and people start talking about it. So they have covered up. And that history is the missing link that connects Dan Fodio to today. It's one nonstop jihad, genocide, from 1804 to today. And if you remove that piece of history, then it just becomes this random isolated incident you can assign to global warming or whatever. But when you put the history in its proper place, it all comes back together. And you can't talk about Nigerian history. They'll close the door on you because they were complicit in it. So it's a complicated mess. But yeah, there's paid lobbyists. There's entrenched in the Democratic Party people that handed the country over to these people. Obama did that on purpose, provable. And then you have the deep state that won't let you talk about Biafran history because their hands are bloody.
All right, TY Danjuma, CJ, please, could you just let TY ask the question?
Let me just ask this question and I give way.
He needs to go in the next 10-20 minutes.
Okay.
So you don't just please. So TY Danjuma, you're welcome. You could just quickly go ahead with your question before we release Mr. Arnold. TY, are you there? TY, are you there?
Yeah,
please?
yeah.
So just go ahead, please.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Well, your network is really bad.
Can you hear me, Precious?
Your network is bad, really very bad. Oh no, your network is really very bad. Yeah. Your network is bad. I don't know why. It's bad. Onyedika, you're welcome. Do you have a question very quickly?
Yes.
TY, your network is very, very bad. I don't know why.
Are you hearing me now?
TY, your network is bad. I don't know what's going on.
Let Onyedika go in then. If you TY, when you
so Onyedika, are you there? Do you want to ask questions? Yes. We'll just let you into the house.
Yes.
Welcome. Go ahead, please, very quickly.
Okay, I only have one question. Mike, have you talked to any U.S. Politicians about the TINUBU files? Or have you showed it to them?
Not personally. I've brought it to the attention of a couple of Congress people, but they all read my feed. So yeah, I've brought it to their attention through my exposure of it. I talk about it quite a bit, and I've posted about it quite a bit.
Thank you. You're welcome. Adex Breaker, thank you so much. I see the little to them. Thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you. And let's go to you, King David. You have a question?
Yeah.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead, David.
Can you hear me, Precious?
I can hear you very well. Just go ahead very quickly.
Precious, can you hear me?
David, I can hear you. I can hear you crystal clear. Yes. So go ahead.
Okay, fine. My question goes this way. With all these things, that why just like Mike have said it, why is US president so silent? Because if I can very remember, 2014 and 15, when APC was campaigning and they are about coming on board, I believe Donald Trump was against the regime, against everything. So why is this time? Why they even fight against him for him not to come back second tenure and make sure that they remove him from power? But why is it this time, this second time, that TINUBU came in power and Donald Trump came in power upon everything they did to him, and Donald Trump was so silent? Nothing is going on, and he knows about this man. He knows everything about this man, the drug trafficking, the certificate, every issue. So why is he so quiet? Why is he not saying anything about this man? And he knows everything about this man. And Nigeria is suffering under this man. The president of US is aware. Everybody is aware. But Nigeria is so blind. They didn't see where this man is taking them to. They didn't see anything about this man. The only thing they do is their mandate. They stand their mandate. Everybody is not me. I don't follow. My family don't follow. But I mean most Nigerians. So why is Trump so quiet? That is my question.
Yeah, good. It's a good question. Thank you for asking. I would say two things, maybe three things. One is that Trump is, like I said, insulated, isolated. He's surrounded by corrupt and complicit advisors. His daughter's father-in-law, Mossad Boulos, he's installed as his top advisor for Africa and the Middle East. That's who he's relying on. Mossad Boulos personally profits from the no-bid contracts that TINUBU issues. Mossad Boulos is completely conflicted in this. 3 days after I literally risked my life to speak the truth at the Abuja press conference, Boulos met with TINUBU in Rome privately and came out and spoke to Nigerian television cameras, state-owned cameras, and he spoke the exact talking points, word for word, that I had just heard Issa Pantami speak to me 3 days earlier. Okay, so this man is complicit. He's conflicted, and he makes money off of TINUBU's presidency, and he's advising Trump. So Trump is getting very bad input and vetted by. Now, here's also the real politic of it. The reality of it is there are a lot of horrible tyrants in the world. Trump campaigned on, and he's running on, and he's governing on a principle of America first. What's in America's best interest? And if he can keep Nigeria, TINUBU under control and keep him under his thumb, better the devil you know than the one you don't know. And so I don't know if he knows the.
So you think that Trump may just be keeping calm because of United States interests, more like vested interests?
Yeah. What's in it for us? That's what he campaigned on, America first. And here's the thing: Nigerians need to realize, it's something I'm passionate about. But you line up 1,000 Americans, and 990 of them couldn't find Nigeria on a map. It's not something that Trump constituents care about. They don't care. Now, when it came time to Maduro, that's the largest oil reserve on earth. It's in our hemisphere, and they were working with the Chinese, and Maduro was proven to be actively trafficking drugs in the United States, and he got court orders, and he did it legally, and he went and got Maduro. It's a very different situation. Very different situation. That was America first. So I don't see that he feels.
So this situation does not affect America enough for Trump to interfere. And perhaps if America can benefit from what's going on, and it's at the best for the best interest of America, even if there are debts and a lot of things going on, America may just look the other way.
Yeah, that's the America First that he campaigned on, and he won resoundingly on the America First platform, and that's what he's committed to. And
So
Iran,
is that not America subtly aiding corruption for its own benefits?
no, it's America not being the world police. It's America not going and meddling in other people's business if we don't take care of our own. I'm not saying I agree or disagree. If I were president, would I do it differently? I don't know. I'm not president. But the reality is people complain about the number one complaint around the world about America is that they're going and meddling in everybody else's business. Just leave us alone. And here you have a president that's leaving people alone and to do what they do. So it is what it is. I'm not advocating for one or the other. I'm just describing the reality.
I absolutely love your sincerity. I mean, not many people would call it what it is, especially when it affects their own country. And I love and appreciate you for that. Thank you. Thank you for that. T.Y. Danjuma, you have a question very quickly because I need you to speak about your school and I need to know how far the school has come, the number of students you have if possible. I would like to talk about your funding. I'm sorry. I'm just a bit very passionate about things like this, seeing people have a better life. It's something that drives me a lot and it always bothers me, when people can't get what is deserving, for them. So, but T.Y., let me let you ask your question. We'll go back to that. To Mike.
Okay. Greetings, Mayor Arnold. Greetings, Precious, and greetings, dear. Yes. First of all, let me thank you for the great job you're doing for us here in Nigeria, the schools, the children that you're sponsoring, and then, of course, your various interventions in trying to ensure that our country gets better. The question I want to ask you is part of which you have answered, and it maybe you need to give more flesh to it. What is the attitude of the American government to the current situation in Nigeria? And specifically, I'm talking about Trump. How does Trump view what is happening in Nigeria, and is there anything that the American policy is focusing on with respect to Nigeria? That's the first question.
Okay. I do not have insight into Trump's brain or his dialogue. I have never met him in person. So I can't really tell you. I do believe he's sincere about wanting, when he came out and said we're in the Christian genocide. I believe that means something to him. I believe he's sincere. I believe that he's a man of peace, and that he is working to win the peace. And if you look, we can get about his strategy in Iran, and I think he's being very smart about it. But Iran, really, the biggest threat to global security and global peace, on Earth. They have been, and he's really burning a lot of his political capital to end that, and I give him credit for that. He's taking a lot of heat for it, and he's being very patient with it. Iran exists to light the world on fire. Period. They're the regime, 47-year regime of Iran, exists to bring the Mahdi. Their Mahdi, the Shiite Mahdi, is according to them 12th Imam living in a cave for 800 years, and it'll only come out and take over when the world is at war, and they exist to make that happen. And they were getting close to a nuclear weapon, and that wasn't for defense. As soon as they got it, they would fulfill their destiny, and they would light that bomb off in Israel, the United States, wherever they could. And he knows that, but he also knows if he goes in there too strong, too fast, too aggressive, that their allies, in the region will rise in to defend them. And so he's isolated them, marginalizing them. They're attacking their neighbors now and all that. So at some point when the neighbors say, okay, they've gone too far, you can take him out, I believe he'll take him out. They're not beating him. He's being very patient, and he's playing the long game. So a little background there. Bottom line, he's a man of peace. I believe he's a man of humanity. His life record shows that he cares about people, and I believe if he really knew the truth about what was happening in Nigeria, that he would do more. But he's being lied to by his advisors, and he's distracted. And he doesn't have a whole lot more political capital to expend. And when I think that when Iran is done, I think that there'll be another window of opportunity for him to turn back to Nigeria. But until then, I don't think it's going to happen.
All right,
Thank you. Thank you. One more question. You have been to Nigeria. You demonstrated that you are very, very much interested in what's happening in Nigeria and how Nigerians can get better life, generally speaking. So, looking at Nigeria and the situation in Nigeria, what's going to be your advice? First, to the government, two, to opposition, three, to Nigerian people generally, as we approach 2027, where we're going to have presidential election.
If you look at the document that I was privileged to draft and release with Nnamdi Kanu a few months ago, the Sokoto Declaration, it calls for people of conscience to reach across tribe, to reach across religion, to reach across region, and stand together for truth and justice and self-determination. That's the only way change is going to happen. When the Yoruba stopped seeking Yoruba first, and the Fula and the Hausa and the Igbo and all that, it realized that, we who are many form one body, that in Christ there is no Jew or Greek or slave or free or Igbo or Hausa or Yoruba, and stand together. Look, the victims of this regime, not just the government, but the two heads of the snake, the jihad and the government, they're the same monster, two different heads. When the people that are being victimized by that realize that we need to stand together. So the Muslims that are being slaughtered, I reach out to them and I say, stand with us. And for some reason they don't, even though they would be killed, even though a lot of them are killed. So there's a spirit of tribalism. And that's one reason why I'm also very adamant. I don't go out there and call this a Christian genocide and Christian versus Muslim, because that prohibits the reaching out and standing together that is necessary. But really, Nigerians, even the separatists, which I God love them, I definitely am sympathetic. I think the whole thing should be balkanized, to be honest with you. But because it's an ungodly amalgamation of the British, and it is designed to fail. But that neither here nor there. But even the most ardent separatists, they're not going to get separation until they reach out and unify with the other people and tribes and faiths, and then stand together, pull down this evil cabal. And then let's decide our future in peace. But unity is the only way forward. And standing on truth, that there's no such thing as darkness. It's the absence of light.
All right.
That's
thank you.
Government, yeah. So
thank you. Man of Prestige, you have a question. We have just about 10 minutes to let Mr. Arnold go. Do you have a question very quickly?
Yeah, I do. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, greeting Mike Arnold and Precious.
Thank you,
my question, let me just go straight to the question. Mr. Arnold, what do you want the Christians and Muslims outside Nigeria, the diaspora? What do you want them to understand that the international media is missing?
That so what are the Christians and Muslims outside of Nigeria?
Yeah, the diasporans, yeah, right. What do you want them to understand that the media, the international media is missing when it comes to Nigeria issue?
Yeah, that the power behind the throne, the ruling regime, the ruling elite of Nigeria is the same as it's been since 1804. It's a caliphate. It's an apocalyptic caliphate that's working to bring the end of the world by building a platform for the Mahdi. This is what Dan Fodio taught and established. It's still taught and revered today. And that he also taught any Muslim that stands in the way should be killed. When you understand those two things and understand that's what's in charge of Nigeria, everything starts to make sense. Okay, so yeah, understand the real power. It's a doomsday caliphate that the British propped up into power and ensured they have full control on purpose, because the indirect rule that cut deals with them, and that's who's still in charge today. And that's and it won't be stopped until that's exposed and until the people stand up to it. there is no real democracy in Nigeria. There's no, it's not a secular democracy. Hell, the Constitution, it has 165 Islamic terms in it. It's a illusion of democracy that is being controlled by a doomsday apocalyptic caliphate. And that's what needs to be stood against. That's what people need to expose. And when it's exposed, I think when Trump sees that, then he'll see that it's a threat to the United States. But until then, we're just playing games.
Thank you very much. I completely agree with you, 110%. Thank you again.
Thank you. So, Mike, let's go ahead and talk about your schools. How are they faring? How many students in all do you have? How many school locations do you have so far?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. We do have 650 kids. More muscle.
Did you say what was the figure?
650 students.
650 kids.
Yes, okay. And it's in Abuja, and it's been tight. It's been tough. One thing I love Nigerians, but Nigerians don't give. They'll put money in the plate of a prosperity pimp with a jet that promises them riches, but I've had trouble getting them to help even a little few naira to help teach these kids. I'm actually behind on payroll. The teachers haven't been paid for a few weeks. God bless them. They're still showing up. I don't have sponsors. I don't have a foundation. I don't have government agencies backing it. This has all been through the sweat of our brow and hard work and personal sacrifice and giving. And I don't have any more to give. And our teachers need to eat. We had an influencer in the United States that funded, we built a new campus. It's a fantastic facility in the biggest IDP camp in Abuja, Wasa. It will hold 500 students, plus we'll have room for an orphanage and a clinic in there. And it's sitting there empty because we can't afford to staff it. It's a Nigerian entity. No, I don't have to touch a naira. I don't want to touch a naira. I just try to raise support for the group there. Is there a way people listening can, put their funding to this? Because I'm sure there are lots of Nigerians who may be willing to support you. I've tried to get through to your platform at letUsAriseAfrica.org. Yeah, the easiest way.
But it's not responding. I think that.
Well, yeah, no, it's a long story. The easiest way people can find it, go to mikearnold.org. The name of my nonprofit is Mike Arnold Ministries. So mikearnold.org is the website. And right there on top is a link to the Arise Academies. And that whatever comes in there goes straight out to those teachers. It goes straight to the field. I don't take a penny of it. But mikearnold.org is the easiest way to find that. You can find my books.
Okay. So I'll post it in the comment section right away so that people would give.
Yeah. And no, these teachers, and I know you've talked to some of these folks, amazing people working sacrificially. It breaks my heart that I wish I was a wealthy man, because I would have, they would all go there, but I don't have any more. I've given everything, and I'm not a good fundraiser. Certainly not good enough. The inflation has gone up, the minimum wage has gone up, and I haven't been able to keep up with it. And our teachers are teaching kids without pay right now, and that's not right. Please, if you can help, a few naira, anything goes a long way. Help us teach these kids, because without intervention, they have about a 50% chance of radicalization. But when you go into our schools now, when they show up, they want to get guns and go back and kill. But right now, you go in there and say, what do you want to be? And they all raise their hand. I want to be a barrister. I want to be a pilot. I want to be a teacher. They have a future.
Well, have you had support? I mean, I know that where you're from in the United States, you have individuals, organizations, rich men give out for courses like this. Have you had a few Nigerian billionaires reach out to you to try to sow into what you're doing?
No. And it's very hard for Americans to understand it and to get it and to care. And all this awareness in the last few months, unfortunately, didn't help any, because a lot of these trauma entrepreneurs, the ones that go in there and talk about the Christian genocide, Christian, they're raising tons of money, and they've never even set foot in Nigeria. They don't. What are they doing with it? You look up some of their filings, and most of it goes to their salaries. But they're able to go in there and play the social media and play on people's emotions and raise a ton of money, and people think they're doing something, and it's not getting to the field. So I've actually had a decline in fundraising with all this spike in awareness. It's not gone up, and it's just getting harder. So,
all right,
I'm
so
not.
I need to state this very categorically so people won't think there's some sort of alliance between us. You did not ask me to request for funds for the schools. I am doing that. Excuse me, we never discussed that, but people who are used to this platform, who watch me, know that I'm always about this. I have paid school fees of a lot of children that I don't even know, I've never met before. I have helped families that I get medication, and people get medication that I do not know. I mean, just last week on this platform, we helped a young man who just got admission into the university pay his school fees, and about 1.6 million naira was raised, in fact, paid directly to the person, through this platform. So excuse me. So it's something I'm always very passionate about. I love to help. I love to see people get better. I love to see a sane country. One of the reasons I run this platform, it's because of my passion to see Nigeria work, to see a situation where people can afford healthcare, education, irrespective of their background and who they are. That means a lot to me. And if our government can begin to get it right, I would be proud that I have been able to contribute to get something done in this country. So you didn't speak to me about this. And
no, not at all.
Say this, yes. So Nigerians, please, I beg you. Mike Arnold has about 650 pupils in Nigeria. He is all the way in the United States, and he has teachers in Nigeria teaching these people he just mentioned. He pays his teachers from his own pockets, all the way from the US. And sometimes it could get very frustrating. So if you have any way to help, just head to mikearnold.org. You see the donation buzzer there. It's actually blinking. So you see the donate buzzer there. I think at the top right of the screen, you see it there. Please just kindly click on it. Your $1, your $2, your 1 naira, your 2 naira, 10, 50, 100,000 naira would go a long way to help these kids get education. And you would have sown into the life of a child. Mike does not even know these children one-on-one physically. And I bet some of them you've not met before because it's been a while you've been in Nigeria, but he is doing this. And how else do we define humanity if not by this way? I mean, that's what I see as being humane and humanity. All the riches of the world we cannot take back when we die. We have to spend them and impact on people here on earth. So I appreciate you. I like to say big thank you to you about that. It means a lot to me. If I say what I have to say now, you say, well, why do I care about your skin? This is not about your skin color, This is about human beings being humane to another human. And this means a lot to me. You would have done this if it was a Chinese child. You would have, if there were Chinese children, you would have done this if there were kids from anywhere. You just see an opportunity to help and impact in kids, and you are doing that. Thank you. Thank you. We really appreciate you. Even as
thank you. Thank you.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I'll confirm and affirm that we didn't talk about this in advance. You don't get a penny from this. I don't get a penny from this. It goes straight to the teachers.
Me getting a penny is a bit funny because there's no way I'll see that money. I'm not going to see that money. So I just want to do. So before we wrap up, I'd like to go back to the question around you being the target by DCI group.
Yeah.
That's very important because, I mean, this speaks to your safety, if that's anything to go by. Do you think your life may be in danger in the United States by some cartel?
Yeah, no, absolutely. In fact, it was Ambassador Sam Brownback when I first started doing this publicly so loudly that told me I should start carrying a gun. And yeah, I even home in my small town in Texas, I absolutely am armed and I know how to use it. Yeah, there's no doubt, and because it's precedented, their money hasn't stopped me. Their lobby firm hasn't stopped me. They still want to stop me. And this is a brutal, bloodthirsty cabal. Yeah, my life's in danger. There's no doubt about it.
Wow. How does that make you feel?
You got to die sometime, somehow. A few years back, I reconnected with a couple old college buddies. We had dinner together. They're both dead now. They were 2 out of 3. I mean, we're of a certain age, and why wasn't it me? Why wasn't I one of the 2 out of 3? Yeah, I could walk out of my office now.
Why are you not stopping the fight? Why are you not stopping the push?
Because you got to go somehow. And if this is how God wants me to go, I'll go this way. And I think that's an honorable way to go. Before I flew to Abuja in October, I updated my will and had a farewell dinner with my children because I was advised that there was a chance they'd kill me for what I was going to do. So yeah, I've already laid down my life. My life's not my own. Every day I have belongs to God, and I could die. I could get off this call right and in 5 minutes have a heart attack and fall over dead. What would I have accomplished? You know, if this is how I'm supposed to go, I can think of worse ways. I can think of worse things to be chiseled on my headstone. You only die once. Might as well die for the right reason.
I think that this is a spirit that Nigerians need to imbibe. The fact that you need to live for something or die for something. That sounds pretty much like it.
I believe that this life is just a preparation for the next. I don't believe that this is the last time I'm going to see you, even if I fall over dead tomorrow. I believe that I believe in an afterlife. I believe in heaven. I believe in the promises of Jesus. And yeah, so, you know, if that's the way I transition from earth to heaven, heck, you know, let's go. You know, I don't seek it. I don't want it. I don't have a death wish. But you know, if God's given me a burden and he's given me a calling and he's put truth, you know, to speak, and what would cause me to shut up? What does this world have to offer me that would cause me to hide my calling and to hide the truth? There's nothing this world can offer me.
So Mike, the you know, after I interviewed you the last time here, I invited someone from one of the IDP camps in Abuja. I think his name is, what's that his name again? I hope
Pastor Jed?
Not that. I will try to remember. I invited him here, and he shared quite some experiences with us here, and some of them were very heartbreaking, especially the part where he revealed the circumstances that surrounds their living there in the IDP camps. And he mentioned how he had single-handedly birthed about over 50 children.
Enoch Johanna.
That's Enoch. Johanna, that's Enoch Johanna. Yes. And
you,
unknown to me, I broke down on air. I couldn't hold it because I just didn't know how to act. For the first time on this show, I broke down when he mentioned how he contracted hepatitis B in one of those processes. And as it is now, of course, we know the risk of hepatitis B stands risk of liver disease if not well managed, and spreading it to his entire family. That is very dangerous. And even though we tried to help, I mean, one of our callers here heard that, living in the United Kingdom, heard that, and she donated, I think, some cartons of hand gloves and some other items to them there. And I'd like to say a big thank you to that lady who did that. And this speaks to the reality of people living in IDP camps in Nigeria. Is this part of the reason why you're really very moved and why you feel the kind of anger that you feel for Nigerian government? You think there's a deliberate neglect of these people?
It's pure evil. I mean, there's no other way around it. These are good people. These are faithful people. These were productive people who's had everything stripped away through no fault of their own. And the government just continues to grind them down and silence them. Enoch's no longer in Nigeria. Not long after you interviewed him, he works for Africa Rise, my organization. He's the
so IDP. Where is he now?
Well, we did an IDP outreach, and he spoke about his experience. Somebody videoed it and posted it. It went viral. The DSS came after him.
Are you serious?
We took him and his family underground and in hiding for several weeks as we arranged it. And I can't tell you where he is. We got them out of the country. No,
it's fine. It's fine. I don't want to know where he is. What is he safe?
No, but he's out of the country. And when they got there, they were in a hotel, and the first night they were there, it flooded, and everything that they were able to take with them got flooded. And now they're living in a different country where they're relatively safe because he spoke the truth about this regime.
So you're saying that because he spoke the truth about this, the living condition of the people that are displaced in Nigeria, his life was in danger?
He was beaten before for writing a letter to the editor. He was taken out and beaten and threatened.
You spoke about that the last time he came.
What he was recorded saying, he was talking about the terrorist rehabilitation program.
Yes, I heard that. In fact, I played that video here when he talks about how they paid them according to the number of people that they've killed. And, he mentioned that.
Yeah, they were coming after him, and we took him underground. We hid him and his wife and children, and it took several weeks.
Did they come after him because he lied, or they came after him because he's exposing
Because he told the truth. They came after him because he told the truth, and it exposed that facet of it. And again, we had to take him and his family and get him out of the country.
Oh my goodness. This is so sad to hear.
He might come on your show again if you reach out to him. He still has WhatsApp,
I would love to reach out to him. I never knew this. It's sad. Is Nigeria that dangerous to live in? Are you sure that's? Are you sure what you're talking about?
Why don't you have him on your show? He can tell you. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure. He upended his. And you know what? Pastor Jed and Uzo Amaka, who run the ministry there, they had to call me from his apartment before he left. He was just going to stay. He said, "I'm ready to die. If they kill me, they kill me." And I had to convince him, look, you have more to say. Don't make it easy for them. Get somewhere safe and keep talking. But he knew it would cost him his life, and he was content with that. He did his job. He spoke the truth. And I'm sure if he has good connectivity, he'd love to come on and keep speaking the truth. The only reason he's alive today is so he can keep speaking truth.
Oh my goodness. Mr. Obisin, just a quick question very quickly. Our time is up. We can't hear you. You're muted. You're muted.
Sorry. Why do I keep coming in late every time?
I don't know.
Yeah. Mike, good to see you. Blessings to you. How are you, man?
I'm good. Thank you.
And
Mr. Obisin, please help me go to mikearnold.org. Help me contribute something tonight. Everybody who watches the show,
okay.
I'm begging you guys, go to mikearnold.com, put something today. I beg you. I will need that and beg all of you. You know, say no, they had me. I beg you guys, please. Those teachers need to be paid, and those kids need to continue schooling. Thank you. Thank you for
what you do, and even for some of the things that we as Nigerians ought to be doing. You are a Nigerian Igbo by extension. Thank you.
They've given you a title. Is your name Chinedu?
Eze Okechukwu is what they call me. Yeah.
Eze Okechukwu. Yes. Eze Okechukwu. Eze Okechukwu. That's the king that God gave. You are indeed.
Quick with it. I have to run, sir. Go ahead, please.
So my question is this: in the concealing of this,
can you help me position our camera properly, please?
The concealing of these documents that the America did not want to release. In whose benefit is it? Is it for Nigeria or for America? If it is for Nigeria, what is it for Nigeria that America does not want to release it and have Nigeria replace their president? And it's for the benefit of America. So what is it why then is America touting that they are bastion of democracy, they support democracy all over the places, when they went to Venezuela and kidnapped somebody else who, of course, probably may have been on the same pedestal with this other guy? That is on that side. And then secondly, today I heard that America has removed Syria from the terrorist group that they were on before. My question on that is, I hope when they are doing all this, did they make sure that Syria will allow Christianity to thrive, that they're not going to persecute Christianity and Christians in Syria? Not just removing them from terrorist group, but to make sure they do not stifle other religions in that country. Thank you.
Very good questions, and I'll do the second one first. I don't know. What you're telling me is news to me. I haven't really kept up with that part of the world in quite a while. I am concerned because Trump's senior advisor for Africa is also a senior advisor for the Middle East, and it's this conflicted individual, Mossad Boulos, and he obviously gives bad advice, and he obviously is conflicted, and so I can't tell you. I don't know the reason or the rationale behind that. As far as the release of the documents, look, it's a legal process. It's a court case. It's not public policy. It's not foreign policy. Perhaps it started that way under the Obama administration when they blocked this originally, but they've been forced into court with a judge who can be appealed. It can go all the way up to Supreme Court, and it's a very open process, and it is bounded by the rule of law. The legal case that the FBI has put forward, I'm not saying it's valid. I'm not saying it's going to fly, but the legal basis they have said they're withholding it is and it is a legal reason that they can withhold it, is because by releasing it, it's going to endanger people's lives today. And so that's what they're standing on. Now, is that real or not? The judge is going to decide that. And if it, whichever way it goes, I'm sure it'll be appealed and go up and up. But they're saying it's not foreign policy. It's not TINUBU, would take his name out of it. It's because releasing this file will endanger a life. That's what they're saying. So, I mean, that's all I can go by. Trump can't overrule that. In fact, I mean, there's no politician that could say, if that's legally the case, they could push it and they could, take the other side in court, but they don't have the power to overrule that law without a court order. And so it's going through the proper channels. And here's the case. If it's true, or if they believe that it would endanger somebody, then the FBI is obligated to object to it. Again, I'm not saying that it's legitimate, but I'm saying the law is the law, and that's the legal case they put forward, and I can't read into it beyond that.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Thank you, PH. A quick one, please, PH.
Yes, please. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, PH.
I want to ask a very simple question, Mark. With all your experience in Nigeria and what you've seen over the years, what would be your advice to the Nigerian government to end this things?
Resign and let good people take over and do the right thing. I don't think there's any hope beyond that. They could end this. The Nigerian government could end all of this very quickly, in theory, but their constitution and the real power structure behind it just won't ever let that happen. So,
do you think that President TINUBU is able to stop it?
Yes and no. He could certainly do more, but the reality is, if he were to do more, that he would be taken out by the powers that be behind him. Just like Jonathan was taken out. Jonathan was, when I first came to Nigeria, is the only nation on earth where radical Islam was being pushed back. But they threatened and they unleashed hell to get him out of office. And so, yeah, he's in a sandbox, but if he goes too far, his own life is in danger, because he's not the final boss here.
Are you serious?
Well, absolutely. Yeah. No. So, yeah.
Very serious.
It is what it is.
Is that not too much for you to say about another country?
We're in a very big bubble.
It is what it is.
Very big bubble.
Mike, thank you so much.
Precious, I have one last question.
Let me throw something out there, because I'm an equal opportunity offender. Okay, a while back when Elon Musk was heading up Doge and they were uncovering all this corruption, I saw an interview with him, and he said very clearly, he said, "There's things that I can't reveal. There's a whole nother layer here, because if I did, they would kill me." So Elon Musk said that about the United States. Okay. So I'm an equal opportunity offender, but the fact is, if TINUBU really went to go and try to stop what's really happening at the source, they're more powerful than he is. They're the ones that hold the cards. It's the ruling elite. They're the ones that, he's just a sock puppet, So yeah, no, he can't, even the baboons and dogs be covered in blood if he pushes too far.
Wow. Thank you very much. Thank you for your good job.
Thank you. Okay, Mike, let me ask. I'm gonna. Okay, let me make this. Let me make. Godson here, Obison. Let me ask one question and make one request. The question is this: so, do you think that if any other person comes, like I'm sure you may have had the candidate Peter Obi say that he'd rather be in charge or have them be in charge if he comes in as the president of Nigeria, that he will take the war to their doorstep. So do you think that he will not be able to do it if he fights them? Because I have my opinion on that too. And then secondly, the request I have to make is, earlier on you said you're not going to root for any. And the request I have to make is, at one point in time, will you, after having seen the the political atmosphere, probably down the road, will you now make up your mind to say you support or you endorse one candidate? And that one candidate is, I want to request is Peter, who will be former governor of Anambra State.
You go pay me for campaign if you do campaign for
I will pay you. I will pay you. No worry.
Please,
I appreciate what you're saying. I do, and I relate. Now, here's the thing: two things. One, what we're talking about here, a problem cannot be solved from the same consciousness that created it. A regime cannot be changed with the same constitution that created it. This is a constitution. This is a regime. This is a whole structure that was put in place by an Islamic military dictator without any consent of the governed. And until that constitution is dissolved and a new one put in place that's truly with the consent of the governed, there's nobody inside that system that can change it. Maybe incremental improvement here or there, but unless Peter Obi says, if I'm president, we're tearing up this constitution, we're having the people come together, and we're writing a constitution that serves the people and not the ruling elite. That's the only way he's going to make real change. And to be honest, his running mate is the guy that implemented Sharia law. He's the Sultan's closest when the Sultan was doing his operations in Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, Pakistan, during the war on terror, it was Kwankwaso that he reported to. So he's a confidant of the Sultan, and he implemented.
You sure know too much. And
Peter Obi said, "Oh, I'm president. I'm going to share power with this guy, with the Sultan's buddy." So I don't have a lot of hope for that. I'm sure that Peter Obi is a good man, and certainly couldn't do any worse. Certainly he'd be better than TINUBU. But for the change that Nigeria needs, I don't see that he's set up to bring it. Now, here's what God has told me. And I believe this. He said, the man or woman, the person, the candidate, the leader who stands up to fight for the displaced, that is the person who needs to be the next president of Nigeria. Not just showing up at an IDP camp for a campaign event, but for the person who drags these people onto the world stage, who gets the attention and the awareness and the aid. Because if they're recognized, Precious, the world has the money and the mandate to take care of them. The World Food Program, all these things will rush in to take care of these IDPs if they're simply recognized. And that's being withheld because their recognition is being withheld. The candidate who stands up for and fights for the IDPs and their restoration and justice, that's the person I'll get behind with everything I've got. And that person hasn't come forward yet. I don't know that he ever will. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's very well said. I hope
you sure know more than us in Nigeria, man.
Thank you.
You sure do.
Thank you so much, Mr. Obison. Thank you. Thank you so much. And once more, I'd like to state, please, if you're watching this, kindly just head to mikearnold.org. Once you get there, click on the top right, you see the donation button. Please kindly click and ensure that you donate whatever it is you have. A penny, $1, a cent would go a long way to help educate displaced children in Nigeria. It is very important. It has about 650 of them right now going through education. And thank you so much, Mike Arnold. I can't thank you, for this particular cause. And I am pretty sure your reward is on earth and not in heaven. So you start reaping it first on earth before you get to heaven. Thank you, and I appreciate you big time. Thank you so much. I do look forward to us again speaking again. I hope you'll be alive. You will be alive. Nothing will happen to you. You'll be safe. As the case unfolds in the United States, I'd love for us to talk about it. And then, so just follow up events as they unfold. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Please ensure to stay safe. It's very important. Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you. Good night and God bless you. All right, Nigeria, that's the size of our package tonight. I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone. I ought to have given you guys updates, but unfortunately, I have to run. I have a meeting right now. I have to run over to that meeting. But you already know what's happening in Nigeria. If I have the time, I'll come back later in the day to give you an update. I love you guys and appreciate you. Please like and share this post. Go to mikearnold.org. Ensure that you sow as little as possible. I'm making my own donation right away. But please help me and do that. If you love God, if you have small love like this, I know that most of you don't love me. It doesn't matter anyway. But if you have small love for what I do, for those of you who do, please, I beg you, just don't dash me money. just go and donate. Let these children go to school. It means a lot to me, and it will mean better for the world if that happens. I love you guys. Appreciate you. Above all of this, ensure to protect your mental health, because hey, he who worries about Nigerian problem and runs away lives to worry another day. You don't want to get caught up in Nigerian wahala and you not come and die. You cannot come and kill yourself and die. So please ensure to protect your mental health. I love you guys. Good night and God bless you. Like and share this post, please. Good night and God bless. So